No GPS, no rules, no shame. Just a funky little quad in a soul train frame. We fly that flow. Grab that gap. No time to nap. No time to nap. Hit that roll. Funk and control. Bounce that wall. We fly it all. We fly it all. Funky and free, we fly indoors, we fly with glee. Whoop it, loop it, groove it, move it, bounce it, flip it, funk it, rip it, fly that soul, don't lose control. Tiny whoop love gonna make you whole. I thread the needle through the vinyl stacks, bounce off the mirror ball, never looking back. My quad's got soul, it's got style, it's got sass. It dips through the incense like a blast from the past. I'm flying figure eights through the lava lamp glow, dodging house plants like a funky pro. My whoops got rhythm, my sticks got heat. I'm the pilot of the party with the grooviest beat. I loop through the hallway, I dive by the broom. I'm the disco ghost in your living room. I hit that split that's over grandma's chair. She just claps and says, boy, you got flair. I'm flying freestyle with a velvet touch. My quad so smooth it don't need a clutch. From the shag rug to the ceiling fan, I'm the funky little fly with a master plan. The curtains dancing on the breeze, freestyle funk in my living room with ease. Tiny whoop magic bumping every wall. I'm the James Brown of flight, can't stop at all.
Hey friends, I'm Aaron Ciotti. Everybody calls me Ciotti. Donkey, 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 donkey. Welcome to matching Monday. My dad is crazy, but he's the best. And so he has offered to match all Super Chats and PayPals tonight. So if you would like to put the Ciotti family into generational debt, tonight's your night. Although it doesn't really work because it's just staying within the family. The voice of God is back as always on Monday nights. Kevin Sumner is here.
Hey, folks.
In the chat, Chef Bruno was first. Zout was next. David Ciotti. Oh, God. Oh, no. Social stream is scrolling to the bottom every time anybody puts a chat in here. Let's see if I can maybe just stay caught up all night. Chef Bruno, Kevin Sumner, Frank Dr. Nicholas. Hey, Ryan. Douglas 6. Oh, no. This is going to drive me insane. Nope. All right, hold on. Can't use social stream. Hold on. Oh, shittification. How is this real life? Pop out chat. And hold on. Top chat switches to live chat. And okay, let me pause this. Wow, YouTube, you gotta get this shit. You gotta get it together, YouTube. You really need to figure this out. DeGhoul, Frank Dr. Nicholas, Chef Bruno, Level Up, Zout, Hey Ryan, David Ciotti, Jamie Flies FPV, Cole FPV, Double Oz, J Tux, Sear, It's Brandon O, Uke CB, Sporny. Frank Dr. Nicholas again. Jimmy the Cow. 421. Mantis is in the house. Patrick says James Brown of Flight. Yes. Chef Bruno. Hey, Ryan. Matthew Wegner. Jimmy the Cow. What's up, people? Thanks for coming. Yeah. Any Super Chats or PayPals, my dad will match. Super Chats, Google and YouTube are going to take 30% of. PayPal, nothing. if you do friends and family. If you don't do friends and family, I think it's like 3%. It's practically nothing. CiottiFPV.com has a PayPal button. That's the easiest way to do that. And then Super Chats, you know how to do the thing. You know how to do the Super Chat thing, friends. Double Jose with a 999. Double Jose with a 999 Super Chat. He says, match Monday. Thank you so much, brother. Drew Markwith with a 499 Super Chat. Thank you, Drew. And then I think I saw my email freaking out already. Tim, I'm just going to call you Tim S because I will almost certainly demolish your last name and probably offend you. Tim, thank you so much. He says, matching Monday cheers with a $5 over on PayPal. And then Calvin Knudsen with a $67 PayPal. He says, Moo, you can say I'm out on stream. God, I read these out of order. He says, Moo, you can say I'm out on stream. Coax others to moo too. There you guys go. Everybody moo. In the chat, if you want to talk directly to me, type at CiottiFPV. Tonight, we're going to dive into how to keep an eye on the health of your, not just tiny whoops. This absolutely applies to everything. Spinning motors up with props on. Yeah, okay. Only do that on tiny little, hopefully prop guarded rigs. But there's lots of other stuff I'm going to show you that you can do anything up to like a 10-inch rig, essentially like once you pull the props off. But yeah, health check, super important. Check your shit before it blows up out in the field and you potentially lose it. You probably don't need to do health checks like all the time, but like as soon as you've got a build that's like starting to act a little bit weird, that's the time. Bring it home. I'm going to show you what to do. You can catch a lot of problems. With tiny whoops, it's really common for the motor shafts to bend, and I'm going to show you how to catch that. I'm also going to show you how to figure out if your props are all banged up. Again, you're going to have to do that with the props on, and so it's got to be something small and prop guarded. Don't chop your fingers all up. It's not worth it, I promise you. Chef Bruno tagged me and said, remember everyone, drop them ducats tonight so CiottiFPV can keep being an FPV head slacker that teaches the rest of us degenerates the ways of the whoop. CiottiFPV says, is healthcare for drones as expensive as for humans? It's actually free, believe it or not, but you have to work. It's not free. It takes your time. You pay with your time and potentially your finger blood. Jamie Flies FPV says, oh, hey, friends in CiottiFPV. Jamie also says insane drift. Thank you so much. That was the analog rig. That was the first like 2 or 3 batteries that I fly whenever I go chase the RC drift cars are always analog. So that I can then switch to the O4 light rig and go, oh my god, it's so heavy and there's so much latency. I want to just gouge my eyes out. It's great. You should do it too. Hey, Ryan says PayPal is better, right? It is indeed. Jimmy the Cow says moo. YouTube just did the thing and scrolled me to the bottom. Hold on. Where are we at? Here we go. Jimmy the Cow says, David Ciotti, PayPal sent. I'm coming for your pocketbook. We love CiottiFPV. Sporny says, sent you another $5 over PayPal. Thank you, Sporny. And then Sporny says, I'm Tim. Thank you for that. Always remind me of your names, people. I am bad with names, like, in general. But then you guys will have, like, one name on YouTube, another name on PayPal, another name on Facebook, another name on Instagram, another name on Discord, and it's just impossible. So always, always, always remind me of your names. Always assume that I'll never know who you actually are from your YouTube name. It's just so hard to keep track. It drives me crazy because you guys are amazing and super generous. Matthew Wegner with a $5 super chat. He says sent the rest via PayPal, and then Zout with a $5 super chat. Thank you all so much. Very, very cool. Thank you, Dad, as well. Incredibly generous. Frank Dector Nicholas says, check cache messages. I think that means via
Apple Pay cache.
Text.
Yeah. Look in your text messages with him.
There it is. Frank Nicholas is responsible for me using Apple Pay. I was like dragging my feet with Apple Pay for the longest time. And then at one point, I think Frank was buying something for me and he was like, can I just send it to you in Apple Pay? I was like, I don't use it yet, but it's set up. And I was like, sure. and now it's really nice to have some money in Apple Pay. $50 from Frank Nicholas. Thank you so much, brother. Super, super, super generous. Frank also found a really good deal on Radiomaster XR4s. So if you're going to go down the Gemini dual band ELRS rabbit hole, which is a good rabbit hole to go down, because like if you start now, like if the next receiver that you buy for ELRS is one of the Radiomaster XRs, XR1, XR2, XR3, or XR4, then if you go to Gemini down the road, you're good to go. Gemini does work with all ELRS, but what's really cool is the XR1 is dual band, but it's cheap. It's like I don't know, like $16 or $18. It's the same as all the other ELRS receivers, but the chip on it is dual band, and so you can go into the Lua script and you can switch it from 2.4 to 900. And so like you're ready for Gemini in that way. The XR4 though is the true Gemini, where it actually has 2 receiver chips on it, and it's the same chip. They're flippable, 900 or 2.4. The problem with the XR4s is they're twice as expensive because it's 2 receivers. And so usually the XR4s are like $38. But Frank found a great deal from an eBay seller. So if you're with me struggling to justify paying almost $40 for the XR4s, which are really nice to have, and they absolutely outperform everything from a Radiolink standpoint, yeah, hunt eBay to see if you can get them a little bit less. He got 2 of them for I think like $26 each, which is not too much more than like a regular old ELRS 2.4 or 900. So yeah, but regardless, I think you should start buying XRs. The XR1 has a UFL on it, so you can just plug in a 2.4 antenna or a 900 antenna or the dual band antenna. The dual band antenna is great, but it's long. It's got a 900 megahertz Immortal T on it in addition to the 2.4. So like on a 3-inch rig, you're not going to want that dual band antenna because it's so goddamn big. But yeah, the XR ones are great. They're cheap. They work super well, and you can just go into the Lua script and flip them. The XR2 is a little weird. It has a ceramic tower 2.4 antenna on it, and it has the flippable chip, which you'll never flip because there is no 900 megahertz antenna on it. But if you, yeah, like once you get into the XR line, you kind of might as well keep buying the XRs, I guess. And then the XR3 is some kind of like weird diversity, but it's not Gemini, and it's like in between on prices. The XR3 doesn't make a lot of sense. You should be buying the XR1, maybe the 2, although I don't necessarily understand it, or the 4. And those are all from Radiomaster, so they're really good quality. We can trust Radiomaster. They've been doing this for long enough. So yeah, there you go. There's some Gemini advice for you. B-Bird with a $10 super chat. He says, have a great stream tonight. Thank you so much, dude. And then CRC Fab with a $5 super chat. He says, been getting my 6-packs a day and having a blast. Running low on spare 0702 motors. Our weBLEED 0702 40,000 1.5 millimeter the way to go. Thank you. Great question, CRC. I think so. It's kind of frustrating. The 1.5 millimeter motor shaft 0702s, you're never going to break the motor shaft, which is amazing because motors are way more expensive than props. The only problem is that we have a very limited selection of 1.2 inch 1.5 millimeter props. There are 2 main propellers. The Gemfan 1210, the biblade, which is really strong, like pretty much indestructible, but it's an older propeller. It's not as well balanced as these 1219s, and it's not even as light as these 1219s, but it's indestructible. These Gemfan 1219S's, I believe there's an S at the end. On weBLEED, you can get them in 1.5 millimeter motor shaft, and they're a great propeller. They're well balanced. They are lightweight, but they're not durable. And so you're going to go through these props. The blades bend all up. The connection point between the blade and the hub is not super strong. And so after a bunch of crashes, like one of your blades is going to bend up and then you get a bunch of vibrations. Yeah, you can kind of push it back straight. But it's absolutely maddening that we don't have a durable, really good performing prop for 1.5 millimeter motor shafts. Everybody go send HQ a message on Facebook or Instagram or anywhere and say, hey, please, for the love of God, make us some 1.2 inch, 1.5 millimeter motor shaft props. Yeah, that's what we need. The HQ props are more durable than these 1219Ss from like a crash standpoint. A lot of times the HQ props, though, the hubs will explode, but like with a tiny whoop, you're flying inside your house, and so you just walk and get it. But you don't have this issue where the blades bend up all the time. You have to bend them back straight, and you got vibrations and all that jazz. The connection point between the blade and the hub on the HQ props is really, really strong. And so, yeah, there you go. But I also 40,000 kV. Don't be afraid of that. HappyModel measures their kV differently than everybody else, and so 40,000 kV sounds like a lot, but it's not that much. And you can just motor limit down if it's too much. All right, hopping into my email real quick here. Eric Usey with a $5 PayPal. He says, "Match Monday generational debt." Thank you, Eric. Bruno said with a $10 PayPal, he says, "Thanks for all you do. I definitely wouldn't be here, wouldn't be where I am without you pouring knowledge into the interweb for us to take in." Thank you, dude. Glad to have you. Matthew Wegner with a $64 PayPal. Holy hell, brother. Thank you so much. He says, +5 via Super Chat. And it's okay to read off the total on stream. I am a 46-year-old child. Aren't we all? Aren't we all, my friend? Dread Sky, Jamie Flies FPV with a $10 PayPal. Thank you so much. Keep an eye on Dread Sky, friends. Jamie is making the software, finalizing, it feels like, the software for cleaning up the gyro data, which is not only for the O4 lights. It's also important on the O4 Pros. If you've ever tried to use an O4 Pro for like proper, real, actual cinematic work, and then you put that flight footage even on the old school good MP66 gyro through GyroFlow, it's never perfect. There's always these like weird little jitters here and there. The software that she's developing should fix that, as well as the absolute nonsense. It looks at the gyro data, which should be clean, and it finds weird like aliasing and clipping and shit, and it gets rid of it, and it works really, really, really well, shockingly well. And Jamie is doing that under Dread Sky, DREDSKYE. So look out for Dread Sky, friends. I believe there's even a, don't quote me on this, but there might be a Dread Sky YouTube, or it might just be under Jamie Flies FPV, I forget. Douglas Otwell with a $5 PayPal. Thank you so much, brother. All right, here we go, and let me keep getting caught up here. Jamie says, FPVC PayPal question: do motor bells get loose or have a little more wiggle, and what would that mean? There is a little bit of movement for sure. The motor shaft goes down through the stator, and there's a C-clip on there, and so like, in order for us to have any chance of getting that C-clip on, hell, even at the factory, right, they have to have that motor shaft be a little bit longer. This is one of the reasons why I really wish they would move over to motor screws, like on the bigger motors. But I don't know if they would be able to do a hollow shaft on these. It would have to be like a point, and like an M0.8 screw. I'm sure they could do it if they really wanted to. But and so yeah, there's always going to be a little bit of movement. But that can absolutely also be a sign that the motor shaft is starting to slip. For those that don't know, on many motors, actually, in the world of FPV, the connection point between the motor shaft and the bell is laser welded. And so they marry these two together, and then C-clip came off. They assemble these guys together, and then they laser weld around here, and that's it. That's the only thing that holds the motor bell to the motor shaft. And so if you've been like pushing your propeller, so the bell sits here, and so when you push your propeller on really hard, that's what you're doing. You're trying to push, you're sometimes succeeding to push that motor shaft down through the bell. The bell won't go any farther down. It'll push against the stator, and that's it. The HappyModel motors, one of the things I really like about them is they have a C-clip on top here. And so when you push down really hard, all you're really doing is pushing down on that C-clip into the motor bell. But if you can't get a propeller off, or if you ever twist a prop, you're gonna be able to, not easily, but you're gonna be able to break that laser weld by twisting the propeller to get it on or off. If you're holding the bell. If you're holding the bell tight and then you're twisting the prop is grabbing onto this and it's going to try to break that laser weld. And then also, if you just are pulling the prop straight off, yeah, there should be a C-clip. There is a C-clip on the bottom. But again, there's a little gap there. And so when you're pulling really hard on the propeller, that's another great way to break that laser weld. And then the bell and motor shaft don't spin together. And so you hit the throttle and the bell spins, but the prop doesn't. And now that motor is trashed. So yeah, that's why it's so important to drill your props out, my friends. Unless you're magically using a propeller and motor where the exact thickness of that specific motor shaft and the inner diameter of the propeller are perfect together, that's pretty rare. Most motor prop combos, the inner diameter of the prop is too small, and so you have to push it way too hard, and that's how most tiny whoop motors get wrecked. So drill your props out, don't push too hard, and your motors will last so much longer. It's like orders of magnitude longer. It's we for the longest time we were like, oh, these motors are failing because of crashes. It's like, nah, typically not. Because in crashes, those forces aren't there, right? Like in a crash, the force is going this way. That's not going to do anything to that laser weld, right? That laser weld is weak in the twisting dimension, in the pulling dimension, and in the pushing direction, and that none of that really happens during crashes. So yeah, there you go. Frank Dr. Nicholas says, Jimmy the Cow, David CiottiFPV, another $20 sent via Apple Cash. $70 is the donation to Top. There you go.
There is a contest breaking out in chat right now for who is running the largest donation.
Oh my god, awesome! Thank you, dude. Thank you, Frank. Very, very cool, man. Oh, hold on.
Your dad just said, "Is it midnight yet?"
For the record, Dad, at any point, feel free to pull the ripcord. It's all good. Jamie Flies says, I have Osmo 6 footage with jitters too. I think I saw you mention that in the Dread Sky Discord. Crazy, man. Crazy that DJI has had this going on, and like, how has nobody said anything, right? Like, I don't understand. I don't get it. Double Jose with a $9.99 super chat. He says, "Is Papa Ciotti sweating yet? Keep donating." And then Jamie Flies says, "Thank you. You're certainly welcome." All right, let's dive in. Wait, hold on. Nicholas Jones with a $20 PayPal. He says, "Keep doing what you do." Thank you so much, brother. All right, cool. Let's dive in. Let me just show you like the whole kind of thing as to how to check these damn things and make sure that they're healthy. One of the big reasons I'm doing this is that Castle Crash is coming up, and I want all my shit to be in as good condition as possible so that I can go completely demolish everything. I think last year Castle Crash, I think I broke 4 whoops. I wasn't really like, I wasn't really willing to repair them there because it's, you know, it's just the fucking screws are so small, and like I think I forgot to bring my drill bit. And I brought a bunch of whoops with me, so it was like, you know, propeller explodes, like sure, I'll throw a new propeller on it, but anything else that happened to them, I was like, just retire it for the weekend. And so yeah, I'm sure the same thing will happen this year. But
hey,
this is good to do every so often. Go ahead, Kevin.
Speaking of Castle Crash, we opened up signups for the even bigger, nastier freestyle contest last night. Have you gotten your entry in yet, Ciotti?
I think I would rather judge, to be honest. I don't think I want to actually enter. I would love to fly a battery at random like I did last year, like in between people.
Oh yeah.
But I don't think I actually want to enter it and take one of those 20 spots. That feels a little weird. And I'm super non-competitive anyway. So yeah, I think I would rather judge.
All right.
I'll be the angry old judge that hates trippy spins and stick banging. You people volunteer. It's a free ticket. And it's the most fun shit ever. Volunteer for stuff that you love, and then the world is better. And you get to meet other volunteers and hang out with other volunteers. Think about that, right? Like other people that are willing to volunteer to help everyone out are the people that you're going to hang out with. Go figure. Those are awesome people. Like some of the best human beings I've met in my entire life, I've met through volunteer work. Like it's such a great way to just meet other amazing people that like are, you know, walking around the earth doing awesome shit. So yeah, volunteer, friends. I taught my very last West Coast Swing class last night. We lost our venue. Well, we didn't have enough people showing up basically for the bar to stay open. It was costing them more money to pay employees and stay open than we were bringing them human beings to buy beer. And so, yeah, I got to find some other form of volunteer work now. That's been my volunteer work for the last 2 years almost. And so, yeah, I got to find something else. It's I always try to like have something like, you know, once a week at the very least, like just go and do something. It feels really good. You meet awesome people, and it's just great. So yeah, let Castle Crash be your volunteer opportunity, friends. Do it! All right, so here's the deal. You've got a rig that when you first built it, it was quiet, chill, PID tuning was easy, sounded nice and clean, flew great. You start smashing it, it gets a little bit uglier. Maybe you have to pull the PID tune back. It will be this way for you guys. Maybe you have to pull the PIDs down a little bit. What's going on with it? Outside in is my absolute best advice. Silicon Valley fans, they talk about like their compression algorithm or whatever is middle out. And it's, oh, that's different than everything else. Outside in is what you always want to think about with drones, because all the way on the outside are the propellers, and they are the most common thing to get banged up and to cause vibrations and cause all these issues. Like there are so many issues that banged up or just out of balance right out of the bag propellers will cause. And so never, ever, ever think that like just because you bought a pack of propellers that it's balanced. There are plenty of propellers out there that are not balanced. There are none that are perfectly balanced. There are a lot that are balanced enough, but there are some that aren't balanced enough. It's a bit of a moving target, right? Like how balanced is balanced enough? There are lots of propellers out there that are balanced enough for you to get a good enough PID tune for like no prop wash pretty much ever. And then there are a bunch of props that are not well balanced enough. I can't rattle them all off because there's hundreds of propellers out there, but I do prop testing on streams every once in a while, and we dive into it and we look at black box logs, and so you can look at those live streams if you want to dive into it. But yeah, don't trust that. Never, ever, ever just run one single propeller. Always buy 2 different propellers or 3 different propellers and then try each one of them. And if your PID tune is aggressive and one of those propellers flies weird or the motors get hot or it sounds weird, don't think you're crazy. Like, there are props out there. Every single propeller that you buy is going to be balanced a little bit differently. It's either better or worse, but yeah, every single time you buy a propeller, it's going to be a little bit different than the one that you're used to or the other one that you bought on that order or whatever. And so always buy 2 different types of propellers, and that because you can then sanity check yourself, right? You can put them on your rig, and if it's acting funny, just take them off and put the other set on and see if that fixes the problems. Also, never buy just one set of props. They're going to get beat up. Even on ducted rigs, the blades get banged up. And after a while, the other thing is that these are plastic. And when we go full throttle, the blades bend. And so every time you go full throttle, you're fatiguing that plastic. And so propellers, even if you don't crash them, even if they don't look all chewed up, if you've put a couple of 100 batteries through a set of props, they're done. The blades are fatigued. They're going to be out of balance. So propellers are absolutely completely consumable items. Get that through your head. That's super important. They're the cheapest of anything to buy, and they have the biggest effect on performance. So always, always, always have multiple different sets that you can try, and never buy just one set. Always buy 2 or 3 sets so that you have backups, so that if you think you might be having a problem, you just swap it out. Cool? So propellers, always blame them first. Always, 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 always. With a tiny whoop, checking your propellers could not be easier. This also applies like to 2S. I would say like 2S, maybe all the way up to 2-inch. I wouldn't go beyond that unless there's a really solid, safe way of holding the quad. I would absolutely not do what I'm about to do. And of course I forgot to charge these batteries, but I'll get that going now. Hold on, let me turn the amperage up to 0.9. Okay. Should be enough juice in this battery. So here's how you tell on a rig that's safe for you to spin up with propellers on it if the propellers are banged up. And if you're doing this in the field, you can use turtle mode. If you're doing this at home, you can use the motors tab, which I'm going to show you in a little bit. But boy, is it just so easy to do it with turtle mode, and there's really not much of a reason not to. Turtle mode does give you a little bit less fine control over the RPM, but it gives you enough control. Like, you'll be fine with it. So get the rig so it's armable, flip into turtle mode, arm it, and now you're going to be so gentle with this. All of the vibrations happen at low RPM. And so this is it right here. That's it. No full throttle. Nothing happens up at full stank a lot of puss. And so what you're going to do is hold this thing in your hand so that you can feel the vibrations. And now you've got 4 motors. And so you're going to go diagonally into the corners because you only want to spin up 1 motor at a time. And so spin up motor 1, motor 2. And now motor 2 is vibrating a lot worse. So let me see if you guys can hear that. Motor 1, smooth. Motor 2. Yeah, you can hear that. You cannot, and I can very easily feel that. Motor and or propeller 2 are vibrating way harder than 1. Then 3. And then 4. And now what you'll usually find is the front motors and props are more banged up. In this case, this one's the worst. And so we change this propeller and we put it back up in the air. We see if the problems are better enough, right? Like your motors and props are gonna get beat up. And so you target the worst one, or if there's 2 that are like super bad, you target both of those. And then you fly it. Like in a perfect world, yeah, okay, any of the, like the one that's the cleanest, you leave that one, and then you swap the other 3. But, like, realistically, they're going to get banged up as soon as you start flying again. So, like, if the quad is having issues, or if you just want to clean it up and get into a good spot, just, you know, go for that worst one and swap the prop out on the worst one. The other thing here is that the motor shaft could be bent. And so you swap the propeller out, you fly it again, and you see if it's better. If it's no better, then it's probably a motor issue. But you can also just do the test again, swap the prop out, put a fresh one on, and then just do this test again where you're holding it, and if it's vibrating just as bad, you pretty much have isolated the fact that it's the motor. If it's a little bit better, then it's the prop. If it's way better, it was definitely the prop and probably not the motor. So that is the first step. That is something that you can do like all the time, right? There's no reason not to just quick flip into turtle mode and spin all 4 motors up on small quads that are safe to hold to see if you've got a prop or motor that's banged up. And so that's how you check your props. If you get a bag of propellers that are not balanced, it'll usually be all 4 of them that are not balanced. Not always, and they're not going to be exactly the same, but that's another way to kind of tell. Like, once you start doing this test a lot, you'll figure out what smooth feels like. Like, you'll just develop a threshold of and that's why it's also kind of important to do this when you put fresh props on or when you put fresh motors on, right? That's your chance to spin this thing up and get like your baseline of how clean can it possibly be. And then as you start pounding on it, it's going to get worse and worse and worse and worse. So do this all the time with rigs that are safe to do this on. Just spin them up, see how they feel. We're going to move over to this guy because I'm going to bell swap this. This is the Crazy G473 build. And I'm going to move these weBLEED 0702 40,000s over to 1.5 millimeter motor shafts. Because, wow, you know, shit, I'm also swapping the frame out. Yeah, that's fine. Because I just want this thing to be as durable as possible for Castle Crash. So I don't necessarily know if I want to. Yeah, we'll tear it all the way down. It's fine. So let's do it again on this one. This is a 1 millimeter. So the reason I want to move away from this one is this is already on 1.5 mil motor shaft, and so these motor shafts are not bent. So for me to pull these props off and spin these motors up, they would be fine. The 1.5 mil motor shafts on the little lightweight 65 motor to motor 1.2 inch prop builds, they're just indestructible. And so it's a waste of time for me to pull these props off. These are 1 millimeter motor shafts here. One of these, I can almost guarantee you, is going to be bent. So we're going to do the same thing because outside in, we're going to check the props first. And I might be able to... hopefully this is a situation where the props are clean, but the motors are banged up. All right, so we're good. Turtle mode, arm it, motor 1. 2. 3 is kind of bad. Ooh, 4 is nasty. All the vibrations happen at low RPM. You'll see what I mean when you start doing this. Yeah, so 1 is super clean. 3 and 4 are not great. So, what I could do is pull these props off, swap fresh props on. Let's say I just did that and I put fresh propellers on here. These HQ ultralights are known to be well balanced. And so let's say I put these on here and it doesn't make the situation any better. Next step is to pull the props off and check the motor shaft. If a propeller blade is banged up, it's going to create vibrations. But if the motor shaft is bent, which is what 1 millimeter motor shafts do all the time, then the prop is going to sit crooked and the prop is going to wobble like this, and that's going to create even worse vibrations. But you won't be able to tell. Like, you can't like feel the vibration and be like, oh, that's so bad, it's definitely the motor shaft. Like, there's no way to really tell that. But yeah, if you throw fresh props on and the vibration doesn't get any better, it's almost always going to be the motor shaft. Unless those propellers are out of balance right out of the bag, which absolutely happens. Matthew Egner with a $31 PayPal. Holy hell, thank you, dude. He says, need that $100 leaderboard, 31 plus 64 plus 5. There you go. Nice. All right. And so we're going to pull these props off here. This is the Tiny Whoop clone popper. It's my favorite, like, really fast way to pull propellers. And if the props are properly drilled out, it's no big deal to use this to get them off. That's what
clone. Which one is the clone proper? Is that the weBLEED one?
The clone popper is from Tiny Whoop, and it's the one with the really thin fork on it that you can very easily break. I have broken 3 of these now. This is not for getting stuck propellers off. If you're using the clone popper and you start to crank on it, it's gonna break, guaranteed. This is for removing propellers that you have drilled out properly and you have not had to hammer onto these motors. That even if like when you buy the drill bits from my Etsy store, it's going to take you a little bit to get used to them. There's a little bit of a learning curve. You're going to ruin a couple props by drilling them out too much. You're not going to drill some props out of, like, after, I don't know, maybe 20, 30 propellers that you drill out, you're going to kind of figure it out. Because, like, you drill the you run like this propeller, right? This is a 1.2 by 0.9 by 3. These are all going to have the same inner diameter. This inner diameter is typically too small. And so you take your 0.99 millimeter drill bit, you run this propeller up and down at once, and then you try to put it back on the motor. If you're still having to push too hard, you pull it back off, you run the drill bit down it maybe twice this time, and then you try again. And you'll get to a point where it takes some force to put the motor on, but not a ton of force. And then you just try to remember, hey, I had to run it down the drill bit 3 times. And then you do the next one. You do it 3 times right off the bat. And so you're going to go through this learning curve, and it's different for every motor. Every motor shaft is slightly different. So this is something that you're going to figure out for each manufacturer of motor and each propeller. But eventually you're going to get it, and you're going to put the props on with the right amount of force, and then you can use the clone popper all day long and not break the fork. But even me, who's been doing this for years and years and years, I've broken 3 of the damn things. I broke one a few months ago. And so my favorite propeller puller is the grappler from weBLEED. This is the least damaging possible way to pull propellers. And after you use this for a while, you get used to these little fellas. So this one's the best, but the clone popper is way faster than this. So we've now got the propellers off, and we're going to do the exact same thing. But the newer versions of Betaflight, which this has on it, the Crazy G473 forces you to run the newer versions of Betaflight, the 2025s. They took some of the sensitivity out of the turtle mode, like stick movements that you're doing, and it kind of makes it hard to do this next thing that I'm going to show you. So I usually do this within Betaflight. You could do this with turtle mode, but it's not quite as good as doing this within Betaflight. And you can do all of this inside of Betaflight because it gives you way better fine control over the RPM that you're spinning this thing at. And so we're going to go to Betaflight configurator, app.betaflight.com, and we are going to connect. Yes, connect. And we're going to give this thing power. We're going to go to the motors tab, and it's right here. This is what you're working with here. I understand the risks. The propellers are removed. Click this first, and now you can spin each one of these motors up with super, super, super fine control. Here's a tip. If you click the slider that you want and then you hit page up, it goes up by 10 at a time. And that's really, really, really handy. And so what you're going to do here is you're going to go to the master to raise all of the motors up. So click it and then page up, page up, page up. only page up a couple times. You want these motors spinning pretty slow. So I'm at like 2%, 10, 20. It goes, the scale is from 1,000 to 2,000. And so 1,020 is 2%. The motors are at 2%. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my fingernail and I'm going to push my fingernail against the motor shaft here. And if this motor shaft is wobbling, I'm going to feel it because my fingernail's hard. And so one at a time, you're going to put your fingernail next to each one of these motor shafts. And so motor number 1, very clean. Motor number 2, very clean. Motor number 3, not as clean as 1 and 2, but not that bad. 4 is a mess. 4 very obviously is like smacking into my finger. I'm gonna turn the master up a little bit and do it again. When it's really low like that, sometimes when you touch the motors, they'll stall. And so you might have to move it up a little bit. Let me check motor 4. Oh yeah. Motor 4, you can just feel it. Like you'll see when you do it. You can absolutely feel it. Motor 3 ain't great either. Motor 1 is totally fine. Motor 2 is totally fine. So yeah, 3 and 4 are bad. You can almost hear them too. Like and you can kind of feel it in the whole frame as well. The whole frame is kind of moving around. And so yeah, now we know the motor shafts on 3 and 4 are bent. I've done this enough where I can tell you that these aren't, in this particular case, these aren't bent that bad. And so like, save them and put them in a little bag that says like slightly bent, because God forbid these motors get discontinued someday. You'll love having those. These 2 can stay. In my case, I'm bell swapping them, so they're all 4 going to come off. I'm actually going to get rid of these 2 because I have lots of these motor bells, but I am going to save these 2. These 2 are totally fine. These are getting saved. And so now you've isolated propellers versus motors. And that is where most of the vibrations are going to come from. Like 90+% of the time, you've now found your problem with hot motors or runaways, or when you go to 0 throttle, it doesn't pull the revs down right away. The revs slowly come down, or they like jitter and do that weird thing. When you built it fresh, when it was absolutely brand new, that's the way that it should act. Just because you've been flying it for a while doesn't mean like, oh, it's just a beat up quad. No, fix it. You can get these things back to the way that they were brand new, and it's not difficult, especially on the little guys. You do it at home for cheap, right? Don't ignore that stuff. Fix it. And so now we've checked propellers, motors, outside in. Next thing to check is the frame. The frame you're going to check more often than anything else, probably, because every single time you pick this thing up, you should just give it a little kind of wiggle. And usually when you kind of wiggle it around like this, if there's something broken on it, you'll see it, you'll feel it. Also, like when the frame breaks, it dramatically changes the way that it flies. And so you're looking typically at like the parts of these struts where they connect to the motors here and to the duct. Also, there's always a chance that it can kind of break in here. So it's just a quick visual check. If you're bending it like this while you're looking at it, if there's a break, you'll see daylight coming through. I just put this frame on not too long ago, so it's totally fine. So now we've checked the props, motors, and frame in that order. Carbon fiber frame, you're looking for delaminated arms. And so with carbon fiber frames, what you want to do is flex them. Put your index fingers on top of opposing motors like this, put your thumbs in the middle, and just flex the carbon fiber. And if you've got an arm that's starting to go, you're going to do this, and the right arm is going to flex more than the left arm. And then you reverse it around and do it on the other 2. And so you can pretty easily find one arm that's a little bit softer, a little bit more bendy than the rest, and now you know that it's on its way out. If it's a removable arm frame, swap that arm out. If it's a solid base plate, break it the rest of the way and replace it. And so you can do these checks even on big stuff. Whenever I have to take the walk of shame, I'll pick the quad up, unplug the battery if I'm walking all the way back, and on the walk back, you just flex it. The other thing that you can do is grab, sometimes the arms will still be strong in this direction, but in the rotational direction, they'll be weak. If they're just starting to delaminate, that can be the case. And so you can grab the motors on the side like this, and then that's going to give you the ability to twist the motors a little bit. And again, what you're feeling for is one different, right? It's so nice that we have 4 of all these things, right? We've got 4 propellers. So you check all 4 of them, and probably all 4 of them aren't going to be beat to shit. Maybe they are. You'll be able to see it, but almost always one's going to be worse, or at least one is going to be clean and the other ones are beat to hell, and you're like, oh god, okay. You're looking for that one clean one. Same thing with the motors, same thing with the arms, right? You've got 4 of all of these things. You should be able to figure out which one of them is the issue, or 2 or 3. It's pretty rare that they all get beat to hell all at once. And if they are all beat to hell, start doing this on your other builds. And again, every single time you do this stuff, you're going to learn like what it feels like. And when you do a fresh build, absolutely do this stuff, because now you really develop your baseline. And so after like a few months of these like constant health checks, it'll become second nature. Like I can pick up anybody's build and just like 1, 2, 3, 4, you know, like look at it, spin a motor maybe, and be like, yeah, this is banged up, that's banged up. That's your problem. You got to keep doing it over and over and over again. And every build's going to be a little bit different. Carbon fiber obviously is going to be way stiffer than fucking plastic. But yeah, you just keep doing it and doing it and doing it and doing it. And then eventually, like, you won't have to like sit down and check all your stuff. Like you'll just build this into your normal, like, kind of way of fondling these things whenever you pick them up off the shelf or whatever. And you'll just kind of know. And then when you're flying them around, you'll also pay attention to it. And when you hit something really hard, you'll be like, okay, I'm going to check that one. And so you just kind of build it into your normal sort of routine. That's what we're really shooting for, because they get beat up slowly, and everybody has a point where they're like, okay, nope, this is too beat up. I'm not willing to fly it in this like wrecked state. I'm willing to spend $10 on a replacement motor to get this thing flying good again. And that's certainly a part of it. You know, every single one of us has a different sort of threshold there, and that's totally fine. That's what we want here, so that you can decide like at what point you repair these things. If you crash all the time, that point is probably going to be a little bit farther than somebody that doesn't crash a lot, right? If you don't crash a lot, your rigs might as well be clean. If you're not crashing all the time, don't fly beat up rigs around. It's just silly. Spend $10-20, get it tip top again, and it's going to last a long time. You know what I mean? Since you're not crashing all the time. For those of us that crash constantly, we kind of have to fly somewhat beat up rigs because it would cost us a fortune to keep them like tip top all the time. Make sense? And then on a tiny whoop, the last thing to check is just the AIO. The mainly like the rubber grommets on the AIO. Make sure that you can push the AIO a little bit and it has a little bit of soft mounting. You don't want like a wire in between the frame and the AIO smashing it together so that it can't move. The motors and propellers, even when they're fresh, are going to vibrate like crazy. It's just what they do. And so the board, the PCB that your gyro lives on, needs to be soft mounted. And this is with all quads. There has to be some sort of soft mounting on your flight, typically your flight controller. Could be AIO, but AIOs are still a flight controller. The gyro is really, really sensitive, and you have to have some amount of soft mounting. Even if it's just a little bit, that's fine. To isolate that gyro at least a little bit from the constant vibrations coming through the motors and props. And so on a carbon fiber frame build, You want to make sure that you don't tighten the nuts down too tight. Same thing on a tiny whoop. Make sure you don't screw the screws down on the canopy too tight, so that you can take this flight controller and you can push it sideways and see just a little bit of movement. It's like almost impossible for me to show you because when I push on it, my hands move, but you want to have a little bit of motion. The other thing you can do is pull down. This is easier for me to show you. If you kind of like dig your fingernail in and pull down on, yes, no, it still moves. You can maybe see that a little bit. You want to have a little bit of compression on those rubber grommets, not too much. You don't want your screw up through the bottom and then the rubber grommet and then a gap and then the nut. That's no good. It's going to find its own vibration and it's going to make things way worse. You want to bring that nut down onto the grommet and compress it a little bit. You want a little bit of compression on that so that it's held in place. You don't want it. You also don't want it to be able to like shift and move and like, so, you know, you calibrate you accelerate your calibrometer, but then the thing does this and it's sitting crooked. That's no good. So yeah, make sure that your AIO is, or flight controller is, a little bit soft mounted. Make sure nothing's pushing up against it, and also make sure nothing is vibrating against it. On a lot of these AIOs, they'll use a wire antenna for either the ELRS or sometimes both the ELRS and the video, the 5.8. And those wire antennas love to do one of two things. They love to either just vibrate out on their own, just because they're not pushed up against something, or even worse is a lot of times out of the box, those wire antennas will be like, they'll come up out of the PCB and then they'll 90 degree and they'll be sitting like a millimeter above the board. Your gyro chip is somewhere on that board. If that antenna is right above the gyro chip and it starts vibrating into that gyro, your life is going to suck. That is so annoying because it'll only cause problems at a specific frequency that vibrates it hard enough to touch. So they'll be like, you'll get to like 37% throttle and the thing will freak out, but then it'll be totally fine everywhere else. And so it'll be this like weird issue that kind of comes and goes. When you have those wire antennas, route it in a way that the antenna is next to something. Get your E6000 and just put the tiniest little dot of E6000 between the antenna and either the canopy or the frame or just anything. Even the AIO. You can even glue it down to the AIO. Just get the... don't let the whole length of the... If this is where the antenna comes out of the PCB, don't let this full length of antenna vibrate around. Half the way, get a little bit of E6000. I like to do it at the tip of the antenna. You can almost always route that antenna in a way where the tip of it pushes against the frame or the canopy. If I'm being a little bit lazy, a lot of times what I can do is route the antenna up the canopy. This is an example here. Let me just get the BT 2.0 out of the frame here real quick. These Air V2 frames have a very small little area where you put these battery plugs through them, and my God, it is very frustrating to get these LED Tiny Whoop 180 degree BT 2.0s out of this. It's a miracle I can get them in there. It always feels like I'm going to break the frame when I'm getting them out, but luckily this plastic that weBLEEDfpv uses is pretty malleable. And I've almost got it. There we go. Come on. There we go. Okay. And so when I'm being a little bit lazy, what I'll do is run the antenna. See that little brass copper bastard up there? If you run the antenna up the canopy like that, you can almost always like push it against the camera and then like sandwich it against the top of the canopy and the camera. You'll see what I mean. Start doing that too, because now you get your antenna facing vertically a little bit. The worst way you can possibly have this antenna routed is flat against the AIO. Usually it's fine because you're just flying around the house, but keep in mind that these PCBs have a ground plane, which is a full layer of copper usually. And that is going to block the shit out of RF. And so if you've got your antenna on top of the PCB and you fly that thing straight up, you're not going to get great ELRS coverage. Luckily, ELRS is absolute magic, and you'll probably actually be fine, but still, really good practice to get that antenna going vertical as much as you can, obviously without it getting mangled, right? Like if you're going to run that antenna vertical, probably don't just let it hang out in the breeze, because then also you're worried about it vibrating on itself. All right, let me get a little bit caught up on chat. That's the bulk of the health check that we're going to be doing. But hopefully you guys have some questions that'll spark another couple thoughts in me. Or if, Kevin, you can think of anything. Yuke says, so I have a build that's not spinning down when I go inverted. Idle issues? Probably not. It's probably vibration issues. When builds won't spin down, it can only really be the PID loop. Like if you put it on the ground and you arm it, the PID loop is not immediately active. You got to throttle up a little bit for the PID loop to start working. And so if you put it on the ground, you arm it, you throttle up and then throttle it back down, yeah, it's going to start to like slowly ramp up, but like it's going to be at idle for a second. When you're at zero throttle, it should be able to get to that idle, that nice chilled out low RPM idle, at pretty much any time, unless it's like a really weird aerodynamic situation like Cinewhoops, for example. But like if you go props in on Cinewhoops, they'll almost always spin all the way down to idle. So that's typically not the case. But if you then start flying the thing around and you come down to zero throttle and it doesn't immediately drop the revs down, something is going on. And so it pretty much has to be the PID loop, right? Like there are two things going on. You're moving the sticks around, telling it what to do, and then the PID loop, or the error correction, is ramping the motors up and down to try to keep it locked in place. If you're inverted, or if you're nose down, or if whatever, any orientation, if you go to zero and it doesn't come with you, there are vibrations happening. There's something going on. It could be like a weird aerodynamic situation. Usually that'll happen with Cinewhoops. A Cinewhoop that's props out, if you fly that thing up in the air and you go zero throttle, it's going to wind those motors up like crazy. There's some weird aerodynamic shit that happens with the ducts when they're set up, when they're running props out, where it will wind the motors up to try to keep itself stable. It's actually kind of a good thing, right? Like that means the error correction is doing its job. It is trying to keep the thing level. If it wasn't doing that, if you turned your PIDs all the way down, instead of it winding up, the thing would just start wobbling around and then you would throw up. So it's actually kind of a good thing, unless there's a motor or prop that's out of balance, creating a vibration, and the error correction is never going to understand that, and so it's going to try to push against that vibration. So like the prop is going to vibrate in this direction, the PID loop is going to try to push that direction. Well, then the prop's going to vibrate in this direction, the PID loop's going to have to push in that direction. That right there is a flyaway, because that prop is never going to stop vibrating, right? It's bent, it's banged up. That motor is never going to stop vibrating because that motor shaft is bent. And so it's just going to the error correction, if it's aggressive enough, is going to constantly try to fix a vibration that ain't going to get fixed, right? Prop wash, it fixes itself. And so the PID loop is going to do its job. When you have these vibrations, or when you have an antenna smacking against the gyro, or if your flight controller is not soft mounted a little bit, and because there's always going to be vibrations from the motors and props, PID loop doesn't get it. The PID loop is just looking at the gyro, and if the gyro is nice and smooth, it's chill. If it's detecting a bunch of vibrations, depending on how aggressive your PIDs are, at some point it's going to try to push back against that error, right? No error is perfectly smooth, nothing's happening. The wind hits it, that's air, it pushes back against the wind. That's what we want. You dip it into prop wash, it pushes back against that prop wash. That's what we want. Motor starts vibrating. It doesn't understand that, right? There's no way for it to know the difference between a motor or prop vibrating and prop wash. And so, yeah. And that can happen when you're inverted. That can happen when you chop the throttle really quickly. The quad needs to match your inputs. By now, you've all had a clean, fresh build that has perfectly matched your inputs. They should all be like that. If they're not, don't like, oh, it's just a weird frame. Like, nope, work on it. You can get almost any frame to fly really, really well. Props in helps quite a bit. It's kind of crazy how it's almost like the Betaflight devs knew what they were doing initially when they used to have everything. The defaults used to be props in. It's kind of crazy how much props in helps just the general flight characteristics of quads. So much so that like I've thought about going props in on 5-inch stuff, but with the props out, when you're crashing through trees with big powerful motors, they do have enough power to push Scraggle out of the way, and so I'll probably never switch the 5-inch rigs over. But like everything smaller than 5-inch, even some of my 3-inch builds are props in, just because I want them to be able to dive really well. When you're diving zero throttle, it's a challenging, especially when you're coming down the side of a building where there's a bunch of swirling wind. It's a really challenging situation for the air correction for the PID loop. And so props in, for whatever reason, aerodynamically helps that quite a bit. Striker says, I think we've got a new most powerful 702 damaged RC and power T-Dog 34,500 RC and power has to be equal to like 50,000 kV HappyModel. Yeah, it's that's crazy. I hadn't actually heard about that motor. That's too much. That's too much for anybody doing freestyle. But you do you, friends. It'll be fun as it ruins all your batteries for at least a couple of weeks. That's for sure. B. Kirk says, how many of those shirts do you own? Just this one. I only wear it during these live streams, and I don't really get sweaty during these live streams, so I just keep wearing the same one. As soon as it starts to smell, though, it will get washed. But it still smells like detergent. Hey, Ryan knows. He says it's the same one. Yep. Where am I at in chat here? Come on. There we go. Sporny says, I always shrimp wrap my antenna and just point it up. Shrimp wrapping it is going to help. That's going to dampen it. It's going to make it heavier. So that's not a terrible idea, but I would try to push it up against the canopy and just put a little dot of E6000. It'll also keep it from like getting all mangled right when you crash and whatnot. So it helps there as well. Tom Rides Uke says, with a $10 super chat, he does say something though. I've been in FPV for 6 months. I've now built 5 to 6 drones. Much of what I've learned is from your past streams. Cheers. Thank you, Tom. Enjoy, man. It's my pleasure. Uke says, when it's sitting at zero throttle when I arm it, it's pretty ramped up. Yeah, that's normal. Brand new parts in the build. It does drop RPM pretty good just flying normally, but like during a power loop, it's acting up. Yeah, so if it's brand new parts, there's a potential that like the motors are another component that can be out of balance right out of the box. So don't just assume that since the motors have not been crashed hard yet that they're okay. Blame the props first though, for sure. Whatever props you're running, put a fresh set on. If that doesn't help, switch to a different propeller. That's the first thing that you want to do, and I bet you that'll fix the issue. Like yeah, there's a lot of props out there that are just not great, especially the older props. The newer the prop, almost always the better the balance. But with micros, a lot of times there aren't any new props. Like with 3-inch builds, there are like no 3-inch props that are newer than like 2 years old. So there's some out of balance ones floating around out there for sure. If props don't fix the problem, so you're going to do all these checks that I showed you, and hopefully you find the issue in these checks. If you don't, it could also be frame related. Not all frames are vibration free. Some frames will have like a resonant frequency that just doesn't jive with whatever your all up weight is, whatever your props are, whatever your motors are. And so if you go outside in and it's not the props, it's not the motor, it's not the soft mounting, it could certainly be just the frame itself. And now you can do things like black box log it and try to drop like notch filters on the specific frequency that's resonating in the frame. I've showed you guys how to do that in the past. It can also be a failing gyro. When the gyros fail, they do all kinds of weird shit. And I've seen bad gyros right out of the box. So unfortunately, it can be a bunch of things, but if you go outside in, you're going to target the stuff that's way more likely. It's way more likely to be propeller or motor related than anything else. So definitely check those first. Jimmy the Cow says, I want a drone during the Pacific Northwest Pilot Exchange, a Max M2 frame 2S using a SpeedyBee AIO, the blue one that's rated 3 to 6S. Can't use the 9-volt pad, but works great. Bulletproof AIO for 2S builds. Which one? SpeedyBee AIO? I haven't checked that one out. Does it have ELRS built in? 3 to 6S is pretty cool. That's a pretty heavy AIO for that light build though, but you'll never blow it up.
Going to look that up right now because I didn't know that SpeedyBee made an AIO.
Yeah, right.
At all. Like I just bought a flight controller from them a couple of months ago.
Right. Denzel says hello. Kevin Sumner points up at my dad saying for me to get a haircut. I really do need a haircut. It's every once in a while it's fun to just let it absolutely go completely out of control, because it's just hysterical. But this is the point where it's too much.
Counter proposal: grow it out and dye it a funky color.
Oh man, so I've grown it out. I've grown my hair out in college. I think I let it go for over a year, and like it was like this big. The problem is this situation here, this like bit, it doesn't stop waving and it looks horrible. It goes up, down now, and now it'll start to go back up and then it'll go back down. It's just ridiculous. And like I was trying to throw it out and shit, but like it's too heavy to do that. It's just, this is it. This is the absolute limit. And I also start to get really annoyed with it at this point. But yeah. Boy, is it tough to have big, thick Italian hair that doesn't fall out or turn gray until I'm like, I think my dad's hair only started turning gray when he was like in his 60s or something. It was so late. Like it's wild. I'm very, very, very lucky to have the head of hair that I do. Wireless J with a $20 super chat. Thank you so much, Judy. Says, thanks for all the awesome advice always. You're certainly welcome. Thank you for joining in on Matching Monday. Every second Monday of the month, basically, is going to be Matching Monday. Well, until my dad goes completely broke because you guys are being awesome. My dad is willing to match the super chats and the PayPals that come through. So Wireless J, that was actually a $40 words go here super chat. David Ciotti says, check PayPal. Ryan Scott, holy shit. Ryan Scott with a $128 PayPal. Good Lord. He says, keep it up, man. Thank you so much, Ryan.
I believe that's our current leader.
It is. Yeah. You're right. Sporny says, I had to cut off 30 centimeters of hair some weeks ago. 30 centimeters? That's a lot, isn't it?
A foot.
Holy shit. A foot, brother. Did it hurt when it gets that long? Sear says, what a terrible joke. Sear says, SpeedyBee makes AIO. I've used the older F745 AIO. They also make F4 AIO. Do any of them have ELRS built in? Wireless J, Jesus Christ. With a $100 super chat. He says, make your dad go broke, LOL. Moo indeed, Jimmy the Cow. Wireless J, thank you so much, man. Super, super, super generous. PayPal also works, friends. CiottiFPV.com has a PayPal button. PayPal only takes a couple percent unless you do friends and family, then they take nothing. Super chats are great, but PayPal, Google takes a chunk of the super chats. So whatever's easier for you. Chef Bruno says, yes, they have ELRS on them. That's really cool. Sporny says, the hair loss won at last.
Yeah. I started losing my hair in my 20s.
Oh my God, dude, that early?
It's
Jesus.
it's medical, so, you know.
Okay.
Uh, yeah, but that's why I don't know that you've ever known me with hair other than when I let it grow out because I'm just tired of shaving it. But it's only ever
Yeah.
a centimeter long at most.
Yeah, and then like when I know someone without hair and then they show me a picture of them with hair, I'm like, you're good now.
Yeah, I had a
That was not a good look.
I had the '90s butt cut. You know, that was
Nice.
everybody's rocking in the late '90s. Yeah,
Right.
I miss my hair.
I'm sorry, brother. You could just feel it in his tone of voice just now, the disappointment.
So sad. It's about 12 or 13 years now that I've been shaving it.
Fair enough. You make it look good, my friend.
Thanks.
Just keep telling yourself that. I mean, it is true. I like so many times I see pictures of people without hair, and then I see a picture of them with hair. I'm like, nah, man, it's better now. Like, I don't know what it is. Like, almost every time, I'm just like, yeah, because like I don't know, when you get older, you just wear your style with more confidence. I think, you know. Hey, I'm reframing this. I did a little. Hey. I ran out of black Cockroach V3 frames, and I'm always like horrified that they're gonna discontinue the Cockroach V3, which would super suck for me because this is the only frame that has these little hooks that I use for the Batwing mounts. And so I've been meaning to buy, every once in a while I'll get worried and I'll buy a bunch of Cockroach V3 frames, and so I did that because I ran out of the black ones. So I snagged 3 extra black ones. I'm putting the one on right now. I snagged an extra clear. I have 1 extra clear back there. I have 1 extra white. So I now have 5 extras, which should be good for many years because, good God, are these frames strong. I finally broke one of the black ones. That was the first black Cockroach V3 I'd ever broken a couple weeks ago, which is why I moved this rig out of it. I think it happened during a live stream. And so, yeah, I'm re-upped on Cockroach V3 frames. I recommend that you do the same. We might never get a frame as durable with as tall ducts as the Cockroach V3. So, like, and there's no telling when they'll stop making the damn things. Maybe never, but there's no reason. They're like $4 each. So next time you're doing a newbie drone order, throw 2, 3, 4 Cockroach V3s, and then you'll be good probably forever. Speaking of XRs, I ran out of the XR receivers, and Newbie Drone sells them. So I snagged a few more XRs. This is me continuing to move as many builds off of Crossfire as possible. And so, yeah, I snagged a bunch of XR1s. I don't think they had any of the XR4s in stock. But yeah, the XR ones are great. You can get them with the dual band antenna. Boy, is it hard to see that in there. There it is. That's the dual band antenna. There's the 2.4, and then the long bit is the 900. The dual band antenna is what I put. I'm moving a bunch of the 5-inch rigs over. And so the dual band antenna is great because it works totally fine. And then you just go into the Lua. If you want 2.4, turn that on. If you want 900, turn that on. You don't have to swap an antenna. You know, once you have your receiver buried inside the build, hopefully shrink wrap to keep, you know, any liquids or whatever off of it. You don't want to be cutting that shrink wrap off, ripping everything apart, swap the antenna. That's bullshit. And so, yeah, if you can get the dual band antennas, it's like $1 more for them. But yeah, they sell it both ways. They sell it XR1 DB for the dual band antenna, and then XR1 2400. I got a couple of these for 3-inch builds, and for the 3-inch builds, I don't want that giant 900 antenna on it. And so you can buy them with an included regular little mini Mortal T 2.4 antenna. And so, yeah, I got a couple of those. Because I have some very cool little 3-inch builds that I haven't flown in forever and ripsqueak frames that I want to get over to ELRS. And then speaking of 2.4, Newbie Drone has a great selection of 2.4 Immortal T, mini Mortal T antennas for like $4, $5, $6. And so these are the Radio Master ones. I really do like these. And I just wanted to snag a couple extras. One of the things that Newbie Drone has that nobody else has, though, is 2.4 mini Mortal T's with the really small UFL connector. I think it's like M something, MPC, MPX. And the one of the GEP-RC AIOs that I bought came with a little 2.4 antenna with the smaller connector on it, which is super annoying. And it's out of spec. The antenna is out of spec. This is actually not the one. This is the one here. And so it's really hard to find 2.4 gig antennas with this little connector. What I did do, I measured the exposed element, and I actually cut it down to try to get this antenna back in spec. But while I was doing, I don't like running these little antennas like this. The little mini Mortal T's are way better. And so for like $3 or whatever, I snagged this guy. And so if you have an ELRS 2.4 receiver or AIO that uses the stupid little miniature UFL, yeah, you can get a proper mini Mortal T. The reason that Newbie Drone has these is they use these stupid little connectors on their Acrobee AIOs when they put FR Sky and then eventually ELRS on board. So Newbie Drone will probably always have these if you ever buy a receiver or an AIO that uses the stupid little connector. And I call it the stupid little connector because it's so small that when you snap it on there like a UFL, there is no snap. And it doesn't, it can very easily not sit in there and like be basically unplugged, which happened to me with the GEP-RC AIO. The troubleshoot was I put it together, the range was useless, and then I blamed the connector, and so like I reseated the connector, I E6000 it down, nothing helped, and then at that point I blamed the antenna. I dug through a box that I had with my old receivers, and I had an old FR Sky RXSR receiver, which FR Sky was 2.4, so it's the right length active element, and on that RXSR they happened to use the stupid little plugs. It was actually a diversity, so there were two, and so I stole one of the antennas from that, hooked it up on that rig, and initially it didn't make the situation any better because that fucking plug was not seated all the way, and so then I reseated that plug, I E6000 it down, and then it was all better. But it's just a simple, straight little piece of antenna. These T antennas work better. They have active element on one side and ground on the other side. And so this is the way to go. So if you ever need the silly little plug 2.4s, Newbie Drone has them. And see, I snagged two of them just in case I ever get another one of those GEP-RC. To be honest, though, just don't buy that GEP-RC AIO. I don't know which AIO it is. It's the 1 to 2S AIO with ELRS built in. Get the Flywoo. The Flywoo 1 to 2S 20 amp, I believe it is, AIO with ELRS built in. That's the way to go. I guess apparently I bought 2 sets of these. As always, Newbie Drone gives you your receipt with some stickers and some candy, which is super cool of them. And then I got 2 little batteries because with a bunch of these new builds, we want to test some different batteries out. This is a 2S 550 from Tattoo R line. This weighs pretty much the same as the Tattoo 2S 450. So I'm actually really excited to test this against that other 450. I don't necessarily need the extra milliamps, but it's probably going to sag less. When a battery is higher MAH, it tends to sag less. And so since this is the same weight as the 450s, this might just kind of do everything better. So I'm pretty excited. I'm shocked I didn't realize that this existed. I had a couple of 2S XT30 batteries that I just started using. when I dove down the 2S rabbit hole. So it's not super surprising. And then for my frame, I'm trying to figure out the different all-up weights and the different battery options. This is a 4S R-Line 650. And so this will just kind of help me dial in my frame so that at some point when you guys can finally buy it, I'll be able to say, yo, if you want 3 minutes of runtime flying hard, 4S 650. If you want 4 minutes of runtime flying hard, 4S 850. I have 450s and then I have 850s. I didn't have anything in between, so I had to snag one to try to dial that in.
So when's that new goggle battery coming?
That's my mailbag. What goggle battery?
Aren't you getting? You need to get a new goggle battery, sir, so that your goggles can quit complaining after 20 minutes of flying.
Oh, dude, I have 5 perfectly good tattoo goggle batteries. I have 5 of these. Fly 533 was blowing these out like a year ago, and I snagged a whole bunch of. I love these, by the way, guys. These are awesome. These are by Tattoo. It's a 2S 450, not 450. 2500, 2S 2500. It's lightweight. It's got a little battery checker here. It's got the barrel plug. These are so good. I stubbornly continue to use the horrible Fat Shark batteries on my Fat Sharks only when I fly here. And these batteries are the problem. I keep using these because they have a USB port built in, and so I can just charge them from a USB cord. And, like, I don't know, Fat Sharks with Fat Shark battery just feels right. And, like, you know, everybody likes rage, and they make me rage. And so, in my mind, everybody loves it.
If I see that thing at Castle Crash, there is a chance that it might not live past Castle Crash.
You won't see it at Castle Crash because I won't bring those goggles. I don't. Those Fat Shark goggles never leave the house. They are literally only for live streaming. The HD Zeros are always the ones that come with me, and I wouldn't dare run one of those stupid little batteries on those. That would be heresy. All right, let me clean up this mess that I've created here. What's happening in chat? Chef Bruno says check out Rate FPVs. Check Rate FPVs out. They're either made in the same place or they're kissing cousins. What are we talking about here? Rate FPV? Is that a person or a company? I know there's the company Rate that made that bind and fly, and now they're making all kinds of other stuff. Is that what we're talking about here?
Rate FPV appears to be a company claiming race-proven performance. I'm digging through their stuff. They got motors. They got stacks.
Is it the same Rate from that bind and fly from not too long ago? Is that who we're talking about here? I feel like it is.
I do not know. Chef Bruno says the AIO. The AIO.
That noise. There's ghosts in here.
Whoa. 20 by 20 AIO. Now that is a rare pick.
Yeah, there aren't many of those. There are a few, though.
I like them.
Last time I looked, yeah, it's not a terrible idea. Last time I looked, there was actually a few of them. I was surprised how many there were. I mean, not more than a few, though, but yeah, they make an awful lot of sense for like older frames that only have 20 by 20 mounting. You can
bring them
back to life.
I've got one in my Ripsqueak that has the HD0 Freestyle on top.
Oh, yeah. You know, that's
20 by
true,
20.
too.
Yeah.
That's true, too, right? That allows you to stack different stuff on top.
Nope. Is it actually 20 by 20 or is it 25 by 25 and their marketing material is wrong? It looks like 25 by 25. Yep. Mounting hole spec 25 by 25. So they're marketing people.
Way to go, guys.
Shit together.
Way to confuse everyone. Thanks. O.FPV. Can't you be just a little bit harder? Nope. That's what she said. So what's the verdict? Is that the same company that makes that bind and fly? That got really good reviews not too long ago?
I am not aware of a bind and fly that got really good reviews, but they do sell some bind and flies.
It's like a 2-inch 2S.
Let's see. 2-inch Freestyle with ELRS. That's probably this thing. I haven't seen anybody in chat talk about it. Yeah, and it's 2S 550 is what they're recommending.
Yeah,
with
I think
it.
that's that company, right? They're making all kinds of stuff. Ryan Sadat actually just recently sent me a link to an Instagram post that Rate made, where they're like, oh, they're making a whole bunch of motors now. Like they came out of nowhere, which is a little concerning. Like every year, it feels like a new rando company pops up in the FPV world. I have a feeling a lot of times they're just, it's like DYS, back from the dead, changing their name or whatever.
These
but-
folks are in Hong Kong, which
Okay.
is somewhat atypical of FPV companies.
Indeed. Maybe they're making good stuff. I don't know. All the reviewers seem to love that Rate W20, I think it was called, Bind and Fly. And so maybe they're making good stuff.
Bruno says they are the same and they look like the SpeedyBee AIO. I think that's what that's what I was talking about, Ciotti. So
Okay.
possibly they're either rebranding or they're an arm of SpeedyBee or something.
Right.
Or they just ripped off SpeedyBee wholesale, which corporate espionage is not
Happens
unheard
constantly.
of. Yeah.
Right. Cool. All right, I'm just trying to make sure these screws aren't too long real quick here. Oh, I'm so stupid. I'm putting these motors back on, but I wanted to bell swap them. I'm the worst. This is going to be a super annoying bell swap because this is a direct soldered AIO, and I hate it. But we will muddle through. These screws are a little bit too long. Chef Bruno says, I guess I was thinking about the blue toothuses. Older one is purple color. Just looked at it. RP1 on it. My bad. All right, so I think we figured that out. Hey, Ryan says they only have 2 colors now, right? Wait, what? Wait, who has 2 colors? What's happening?
I think he's talking about. I saw that. I think it's around the conversation with V3 frames, Cockroach V3 frames.
Oh, nope. 3 colors: white, clear, and black. They still have all 3. Be careful when you buy Cockroach V3 frames. There are actually 6. There are the lightweight ones and the heavyweight ones. You don't want the heavyweight ones. The heavyweight ones come in like actual clear, like a purple clear, which is so cool looking, and then black, I believe. But they're a full gram heavier, and they're not as like gummy of a frame. They're much more brittle. I think they're still really strong, but they're a gram heavier. You don't want that. So be careful.
In the spirit of is a hot dog a sandwich, is clear a color?
Oh boy. Maybe. I mean, if it gives me the option in the drop down, then yes, it's a color, damn it.
Fair.
And for the record, clear plastic is always going to be stronger. That is not a myth, even though, boy, does it seem like a myth. But the long and short of it is that plastic is clear. And plastic is strong when there's as much of it as possible. And so if plastic is any color but clear, they've added something to it to give it that other color. And whatever they've added to it is not as strong as the plastic itself. So yes, clear is slightly stronger. But I've had one of these Cockroach V3 black frames getting hammered for probably over a year, and it was completely fine. So like it's okay. It's not a big deal. If you want to go with black because it looks better, by all means, it'll still be plenty strong. I try to mix and match the canopy with the frame because, you know, if you're not gonna fly good, you better look good. And boy, do I not fly good sometimes. Jesus. It also helps, like, if you have 2 builds, one of them's black build, one of them's the clear build, and you're out flying and one of them's acting up, it's easy. You know, the black build is acting up, the clear build is acting up. You don't have to, you know, it just makes your life a lot easier. As fun as it is to have, like, completely matching setups, it can cause issues from, like, a I was all hopped up on goofballs when I was out flying, and I don't remember which one was acting up kind of standpoint. Don't make your life any harder than it already is, my friends. Sear says, Bluetooth, yes, but no built-in ELRS on the 2 AIOs from Speedy Bees that I've used, F745, F405. Gotcha. It's funny, like, ELRS being built into these AIOs, there was a while where, like, it wasn't a thing, and we would put an external receiver on with 4 wires, and it was, like, not a big deal. But, like, my God, now that it's like, pretty common, when an AIO doesn't have ELRS built in, I'm like, oh, no, I can't possibly be bothered to solder 4 wires to a receiver and find a spot for the receiver. Although I will also say that some of these itty-bitty frames don't have a spot for a receiver. Like this frame, this Baby Turtle V7 frame, there is absolutely nowhere for a receiver to go. Yeah, I could just double-sided tape it to the top of the AIO, but that's not a great thing to do because, you know, VHB double-sided tape is going to have that thing, it's going to let it move around a little bit, and that's dumping right into the AIO that the gyro is on. And so, yeah, having ELRS on board actually is really, really nice and could literally make the build fly a little bit better until anything dies on that AIO and you have to throw the entire AIO away. That kind of sucks. But ELRS is typically super bulletproof. But, you know, if you had the external receiver in there and then the ESC FET explodes, you'd be able to keep the receiver in there. But hey, laziness always wins. Am I right?
And I don't know. I know that not everybody is in this situation, but I have far too little time to fly. And so
right.
I'd rather
not having
spend
one less thing to do on a build. Yeah,
I'd rather not have to spend more time. Actually,
and like, boy, is it nice.
Yeah.
To drop an AIO down, plug motors in, screw a couple screws in,
plug the VTX in,
and go fucking fly. Yeah, like, oh man, like, that is just the best. That is peak FPV right there. So, yeah, it's all good.
Actually, I think I blew up an AIO this weekend. Took it out of the case and sent it up, and it's dipping the back right arm, and I'm pretty sure it's the FET's finally going. I've had that AIO for 3 years. So I'm finally about to dip into my AIOs that have ELRS on board. Let me tell you, that makes me happy.
Yeah, it is really nice. And bonus points if it's not just a stupid ass through hole on the board with a jank ass piece of wire coming off of it. If you can ever find, if you're ever between 2 AIOs and one of them has UFL for the ELRS and the other one has a janky ass wire, never get the janky wire. I mean, like, yeah, okay, on these little 2-inch builds, whatever, like it'll probably be fine. But like, this build, this will go a mile. Like, guarantee you this will go a mile out and back. And a janky little piece of wire ain't going to love that. And so with the UFL, you throw a little mini Mortal T antenna on the bottom, and you have infinite ELRS range for something small like that. So, and you can replace the antenna a lot easier, right? Those janky wires, like if they break off or whatever, they're a pain in the ass to get into the through hole. And like, God, you know, you're literally taking a wire that's supposed to be tuned properly and you're soldering it into the through hole. Well, like, what if you put the wire farther through the through hole and now you've detuned the antenna, right? Like the janky piece of wire situation is not good. So avoid it at all costs. But it does usually work, to be honest.
Danzilla says, O-Line makes a real nice 3S 4800 mAh Lion goggle battery. Too big heavy to wear on head, but it runs my DJI V2s for days.
Nice. Over on PayPal, Matthew Wegner, not to be outdone, with a $29 PayPal. He says, pulling a Price is Right, $129 total, 29 plus 31 plus 69 plus 5. There it is. He went $1 up on Ryan Scott. Although,
Is Papa Ciotti's wallet crying yet?
yeah. Oh no, okay, yeah, they're both up on Wireless J. Wireless J is at 120, and then Ryan Scott's at 128, and then Matthew Wegner is at 129. You guys are absolutely out of your minds. Thank you all so much. It's just absurd how generous this little community that we've kind of built here through these live streams over the last 4 years is. If you need readers, go on eBay and get these. Just don't let anybody see you with them with the LEDs on. Nobody cares. They all know you're a nerd. These are actually really decent, and they have a little bit of magnification to them. And my God, having these stupid little LEDs here is so nice. Like if I'm working on quads over on the coffee table where the lighting is not great, I just throw these on and throw the little LEDs on. They don't last for shit. They've got a battery built in here, but then they've got little USB-C to plug them in. What's annoying is they're not connected, so you have to charge one side and then charge the other side. But man, these are actually like really nice. They're somewhat comfortable, and for doing up close work, I can now like actually see what the hell I'm doing. Speaking of, here's how you remove motor bells on these itty bitty tiny whoop motors. Wait. Oh God, no! It's getting late. Let's fly a couple batteries. I charged these batteries up. I've shown you guys how to do that before. It's a C-clip. It's a C-clip on the bottom. Take your most precision tweezers and go one side of the tweezers on the motor shaft like this. And now the other side, all you want to do is just get it started. And so you're going to, one side here, one side like that, and you're just going to bump it just to get it started. And then it's going to sit like that. The C-clip is going to sit like that. It wants to shoot across the room and disappear forever. And so at this point, make sure you've got like a finger on top. And so like I'll put my finger basically like this, and then all you got to do is bump one side of it, and it'll dink and it'll push into your finger. And now that C-clip is off. Now you pull your bell, swap the bell, and then getting the C-clip back on. What I'll usually do is like get it kind of started and just like hooked into the little slot. And then same deal, keep your finger on top because it loves to shoot off. And then one side, other side, pop it on. And then sometimes you'll just get it like kind of halfway, and then you can just bump it the rest of the way. If you want to make absolutely sure that you don't lose the C-clips, do it inside of a clear plastic sandwich bag. Oh my God, is it hard to do inside of a plastic sandwich bag? And so you'll probably get frustrated doing that and then just do it in free air. It's all about putting one of your fingers over top of that C-clip. You'll lose a couple for sure, but there is a way to do it. It's hard for me to explain, but like basically just have a finger, your thumb or your index finger, whatever, on top of that C-clip and motor shaft, and just think about it when you're doing it, and you'll see like the C-clip always wants to shoot in the one direction. So have your finger there and it'll shoot in your finger and you'll catch it. You'll see what I mean. Don't be afraid of removing the C-clips on these little motors. I know it's small. Put your fucking nerd goggles on so you can see what you're doing. That's the biggest part of it. You have to be able to see what you're doing. Don't do it with your regular eyeballs. Do it with some kind of magnification. Do it with one of these if you have one of these. It makes it so much easier. And then, yeah, it's an excuse to buy a nice set of kind of precision needle nose pliers. Let's do some flying, friends. We are going to fly the banged up indestructible tiny whoop. It's banged up because the propellers are a little bit of a mess. I think I did bend it back towards the end of the live stream yesterday. And so let's see how it does. This is a perfect example, though, of a rig when these propellers are banged up. When I go zero throttle and I'm like inverted, sometimes it'll start to wind the motors up, and it's because of the propellers in this case. It's almost always because of the propellers, though. Here we go. This is 40,000 kV weBLEED motors with Gemfan 1219S propellers. These are the best propellers for 1.5 mil motor shafts. and 2G4, yeah, 2G4 RunCam Nano 3. That's the whole build. Old school Mobula 6 canopy as well. All right, here we go. What? Oh, let me guess. I didn't turn the transmitter on. Nope. Sure didn't. Sure didn't. All right, I'm going to fly 2. You guys are going to fly 6. That's the deal. You at least have to fly 4 so that between us, we are at 6 for the day. Oh my God. How many things am I going to forget on the transmitter? I got that. There we go. Okay. Come on, Express LRS. You can do it. Hey, there it is. Whoa. Where is he? I hear him. I hear my boy. Yeah, these props are still pretty banged up. Look at that downward dog. Look at him. Oh, he's got nothing. He don't give a shit tonight. Nothing. Look at this. Eyebrows blowing around. Wait, no, other way. Oh, man, I wish the props weren't banged up. You can still see those eyebrows. Speaking of haircuts, this dog needs a haircut, too.
Zedrich X says... How is he getting up?
Do something, Daddy.
Do you E6000 your motor wires down? I fly my Air 75-2 outdoors competing against big boy 5-inch quads. My motor wires are physically breaking at the joints, are the bane of my existence.
Oh God, I just smashed right into the set. If that's happening to you, absolutely use E6000. That's a perfect reason to use it. I don't have that issue. But yeah, if I was having that issue, I would absolutely do that. That's a great idea. E6000 is the perfect thing to use because it comes off in one big blob. And so yeah, that's a great idea. I will sometimes use E6000 on direct soldered motors to help that spot where they're direct soldered not break, because that's where like they kind of always break. But I try not to run direct soldered motors because of that, because they break there. And then like when you use the E6000, like it's not bad, but it's like annoying to have to then peel that off of all 3 motor wires. It's totally worth it, but motor plug to the win.
If you're gonna be on, if you're talking about on the board rather than at the base of the motor, you can also use a little dab of hot glue. And hot glue comes off really easily if you just put normal isopropyl alcohol on it.
That is such a nice little hack. I remember you mentioned that previously, and I tried it, and it absolutely worked. I was blown away.
Yeah, I got that from Shelby.
Nice.
Those wing
yeah,
guys.
He would know. Jesus, yeah. Those wing guys, fucking hot glue. The whole wing is hot glue.
The whole wing is hot glue by the time that you blow it up, finally.
Jesus.
Sear says the 2020 AIOs are rare, like Flywoo Evo HD or the Hack RC F722. Yeah, I'm flying an Evo myself. I've got 2 of them.
What's the 2020? Oh.
AIOs, yeah.
I was thinking the year 2020.
I don't know.
Like,
20 by
20.
20 by 20. 20 by 20. Ah, the 2G4. Oh.
I bet you it came out in 2020. That's an old AIO.
Yeah. It was probably about that because I got my first Mob 6 in summer 20.
Yeah, crazy old AIO. Big, thick, strong. It's unbelievable that how far we've come with AIOs since then, and like it's all backfired. Like that old ass thick AIO is the absolute durability champion because it's old and thick. Like all these new AIOs are breaking all over the place because they're so thin, and like unfortunately the AIOs are a stress member in these things. Gotta remember that. All right, last battery, friends.
Upshot says yes, clear is a color and dogs can look up.
Wait, dogs can't look up?
It's Brandon O says, I can't fly my packs. I'm a genius that tried dyeing my radio controller's shell and the damn thing. Oh
Wait, you tried dyeing it and what happened?
And warped the damn thing.
Oh no!
Oh, got a little too warm, eh?
I guess you dyed it in boiling water.
Sometimes you can find the 3D print files online to reshell them. If it's a Radio Master radio, you can get the spare part. It ships from China. But brother, I am sad for you. And I guess you could always like put gloves on and fly just the PCB.
I guess you can also look for somebody selling like a broken one.
Yeah.
And then steal the case off of it. But I'll bet you can find a replacement case. FR Sky used to sell the replacement cases for all theirs.
He says it's the purple one I posted in the general.
Ooh.
Find it.
I was jamming for a minute there. Oh, you. Crash Recovery actually got me on that one. I forgot to tell you guys, Kevin and I were talking about at the beginning, but before the live stream started. It was man versus kudzu today in the backyard. It was a real fist fight. I was out there with I guess it was more just man versus backyard today. I'm trying to fill in the big ass depression that I'm sure is the reason that we've had such mosquito problems back there, as well as weed whacking like crazy, and also. So I've got these two big. I have 3 Milwaukee batteries, big, medium, and small. And so now that Sage has his own apartment, we're getting his room fixed up, and in a moment of absolute insanity, he spray painted one of the entire walls of his room, all crazy. And so my life is now an hour at a time of running the biggest battery that I have goes in the shop vac, which then hooks up to the orbital sander, and that gets the medium sized battery. And so I do that wall to try to get these, and he did like 4 different colors, so there's like 4 different layers of spray paint on there. And so I just do this wall until I just can't move my arms anymore. And then there's a little bit of battery left on the big battery, and then so I throw that on the weed whacker, and I go out and I run that battery all the way down in the backyard, trying to keep it under control. And then I did some shoveling as well. So I'm broken, but it's great because it's exercise that rather than paying landscapers hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars to do it. So yeah. That's why I'm a little maybe low energy tonight, because everything hurts. But yeah, it's an amazing workout that I desperately need, which I've been doing really good actually. The last almost a month, I'm almost a month deep into working out pretty much every day. It's simple stuff. It's push-ups, pull-ups, chin-ups. I'm doing as much yoga as I can. I'm trying to get my yoga practice back where it used to be, which is like roughly daily. And yeah, it makes a huge difference, which is great. I need it. So yeah, there's that, which is, I hate it. I absolutely hate working out, but I'm 45 years old, and if I don't, I'm gonna die to like a broken whatever hip or arm or some other crazy shit. And so it's just a necessity of aging, which yeah, I don't love, but not a whole hell of a lot I can do about it. So there's that.
Nathan Wells is the only one left.
Where's it at?
Looking at chat. Here,
Where's it at? Hold on. David Blackman with $20 super chat. He says, from Wireless J, #6 batteries. See, I had no idea David Blackman was or is, not just is, Wireless J. David, thank you so much. So that puts him ahead. It's the end of the live stream. RC, because yeah, David Blackman at 140, beating out Matthew Wegner and Ryan Scott. Thank you all so much. Thank my dad, Mega, for suggesting this was completely his idea, which is the only reason why. If this was my idea, I would feel horrible. But it was totally his idea. Good idea. Kevin Sumner with a 150 through Apple Pay. Kevin, thank you so much, brother. So there it is. Kevin smashes everyone else at the last second. Thank you all so much. Super, super, super generous. Thank you so much, Dad. As always, you're the goddamn best. I'll see you guys on Wednesday. We'll do some Whoop stuff. I'm going to fly before Wednesday, I promise. We've had so much goddamn rain. I have not been able to fly anything. I have a bunch of stuff I'm dying to fly outside. So yeah, Wednesday will be really fun. Come on back. Do all the YouTube things. Hit buttons. Do things. Click shit. Jesus Christ, 1,005 total. Holy fuck. Oh my God, thank you guys so much. Dad, let me know if we need to skip a week. Or skip a month, rather. Thanks, everybody. Hey, I'll hopefully see you all at Castle Crash. Sign up to volunteer or I'll slap your faces. You get a free ticket and you get to hang out with the coolest people there. Just do it. Love you guys. Be good. I'll see you Wednesday. Here comes a little bit more analog RC drift car chasing. Or not, because this computer is betraying... Nope, there it goes. Be good, friends. See you Wednesday. Thank you all so much. Super generous. Love you. Bye.
Yeah. Out in the yard where the grass grows wild, CiottiFPV's goggles locked, grinning like a child. Teddy Spaghetti's fur flies and jet wash dreams, yeah. Chasing small whoops like a dog possessed fiend. Eyes on a neon blur, hard in the chase. Big fuzz and prop spin all tangled in place, yeah. Four-legged rebel with a rotor stir tail in the circus of the sky. They never fail. CiottiFPV, Teddy Spaghetti, dynamic duo kings, barking at the breeze, throttling at top speed. They zooming through hoops, flipping in style. That schnauzer's got throttle and a toothy smile. Yeah. Shotty's on sticks, Teddy's on paws. Side by side, legends breaking all the laws. Through the kitchen, over couch scale terrain. Backyard mayhem in their flight domain. No ground too sacred, no loop too tight. Fuzz, fuel, fury ignites the night. When pilot and pup lock eyes on the prize, every whoop they conquer is a fresh cut surprise. Yeah. Shotty behind the sticks, Teddy's leading the pack. Prop guard missiles unleashed, never looking back. No leash, no map, just freestyle mic. They on the dog drone streets every day and night. Said whoops, hitting low, gotta nail the dive. Teddy push throttle up, feel the beast come alive. I see the neon arc, got the sticks locked in, Teddy. Yeah, let's rip this loop, ride the roar of the wind, Teddy. Yep. Yeah, CiottiFPV, Teddy Spaghetti, diamond and duo kings, barking at the breeze, throttling at top speed, zooming through hoops, flipping in style. That schnauzer's got throttle and a toothy smile. Teddy Spaghetti. Barking at the breeze, throttling at top speed, things zooming through hoops, flipping in style. That schnauzer's got throttle and a toothy smile. Yeah, when you hear that bar cut the rotor hum, you know Ciotti and Teddy's mission's just begun. FPV's fur-faced legends singing loud. Yeah, Teddy Spaghetti and CiottiFPV always proud.